Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to make a graph for all your data that you get for your experiment. We're going to go through how to do that on Google Sheets. So if you are in Google Classroom, you can go over here and there are different Google apps. Remove myself here. And one of those is Google Sheets. Okay, if you would prefer to work in Excel, that's fine as well, but everyone will have access to Google Sheets. So start a new spreadsheet. Okay. And a good thing to do right away would be to title it. So we can call this experiment data. And Google is going to save this for you so that you have access to it. Now there are many different ways to make use of it. And I'm going to just give you what I think is a nice, easy way of dealing with your data. And I'm going to go from the example that we had in class where you are growing plants with different kinds of fertilizer. And so let's say we make just a pure data table where this is going to be all your rough data. Okay, you take measurements from a whole bunch of plants and you put that into here. Okay, and so some of the plants were grown with Miracle-Gro. Others were grown with Scott's fertilizer. And then we had another group called a control group. And then you let the plants grow. And then let's say you take measurements. And so there's our measurements. Okay, we had a number of plants in each group, 5 in each group. You'd probably want more. And then you measure their heights after a while, and this is the heights that you get. Okay, so the Miracle-Gro plants, some are grown to 2.5 to 2.8 centimeters. Okay, and now what we want to do is we're going to make a summary of that raw data. Okay, and so you're probably going to have a whole bunch of raw data. And so now I'm going to make a summary table of that data. Okay, and so again, we've got these types of plants. So I'm going to go like this. Okay, I just highlight all those. I'm going to go copy and I'm going to paste that here. Oh dear. Let's ignore that. I'm just going to put that in again quickly. Okay, and so the summary data, the summary table, that's what we're going to use to make our chart or your graph. Okay, now we have different plants at different heights, and what we want is we want an average of that. So we need to put in a formula, and so you always start formulas with a plus or an equals. So I hit plus, and I want average, so I'm going to type in average. And then I want an open bracket like that. So I've got plus, average, open bracket. And this is the data I want to put into this formula right there. So I'm just going to highlight all this data. Okay, and now it's put it into there. And you can just hit enter. And so there's the average height for all of this data. Okay, and I can do that here as well. And here, where I just do plus, average, and then these, highlight those and press enter. I can also go like this, and there's a little blue box there. If I go like this and drag it over, then it's going to do the same thing. Okay, so if I click on this, instead of taking the data A3 through 7, it's taking B3 through B7. You can see that here. So there's our data. I want a graph of this, and so I can just highlight that data. And over here, we've got insert chart. And so it's working, and there we go. Okay, so there's a chart nicely made for us. Although I do want to edit it a little bit. So if it gave you a different type of chart, here's the setup on the left side, or on the right side. There are different types of charts. Okay, it may be that for your experiment, you want to have a line chart. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you're going to use a line chart to show how things are changing over time. Um, if we're doing something like this, then um, it's best to use a column chart like this. Okay, now what we can do is we can actually customize it a bit. So chart style, there are different things. You can make it 3D if you want. You can maximize. I kind of think this looks good. And so there are other ways we can do it. You should have titles, very important. So a chart title first, right there. And so this could be plant heights in different growing conditions. Okay, and so that puts it up there. Another type of title I want is for the horizontal axis. So the horizontal axis, that's going to go on the bottom, and that would be, let's say, different growing conditions. And so it puts it there. And a vertical axis, what we are measuring here is this, that's the plant heights. So plant heights, and this is in centimeters, so you do want to put in your units. Very important. So that's chart axes and titles. There are other things you can do here. The legend, maybe you want to put the legend on the bottom. I believe you can do that. So bottom, that looks quite nice there. And I'd really encourage you to play around with it. But there are some things that I would expect you to have. So you need a chart title, okay, that explains what your chart, what information is in the chart. You need labels for your axes so that we know what this is and we know what these are, okay? And you should also have units. So plant heights, this is not in meters or kilometers or millimeters, this is in centimeters. But that's the general idea for how to make a good chart. And there are plenty of other tutorials on YouTube. So now what you can do is you can move this wherever you'd like, and you can print this. Okay, so we've got a data table, we've got a summary table, you've got your chart. You could just take a screenshot of this and you can place it wherever you want. But that's the general basis for how to make a good graph for your data with Google Sheets. So I hope that's helpful.